All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bennett Brothers podcast. Another Titus and Bennett podcast because, well, my brother's not here, so I got to hang out with this nerd. But we have a topic that we want to talk about today. First, we got to answer all these really stupid questions that are written very terribly by yours truly, Titus Bennett. Our first question is, what was it like living in Alaska? Titus, tell them what it was like.
Honestly, yeah, it's pretty cold there, but when you have an igloo, it's all right. It would kind of suck every once in a while because our stove that we would have in there to keep warm, it would just melt our igloo, and then the whole thing would just start falling apart, and then we would have to sleep outside all night, and then we'd have to wake up.
Wait. You had a fucking igloo?
Yeah, bro.
I had a house.
Wait, are you... The fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah?
Bro.
The igloo, bro, I built igloos for fun.
I built igloos so I can live.
And then I would break them.
You'd break them?
This dude lived in a fucking igloo.
That's like a crime if you
Did you
lived
not
in my
see a
neighborhood.
house?
Dude, no.
Bro,
we
I
were
had
like
a
we were like
house.
surrounded by mountains. People would have helicopters, and I would just assume they were from California.
Yo, guys, don't mind the water. My bad. Okay. So this nerd lived in an igloo, apparently. Thoughts on the Earth being flat?
It's round.
Not.
It's round.
It's not flat. Opinion on clouds. You are stupid and you need to come up with better questions. That is my opinion on clouds. You're a nerd. Now that we're done reading all these stupid questions, we have a topic for the day, and that is about the river of life. Most people are living basically in a river where they're just floating along with the current, hoping that it takes them to where they want to be. And honestly, it's a pretty tragical way to live. But yeah, most people are just floating along, hoping that everything turns out good for them, not knowing where they're headed. They're just going with life. They're letting life take them wherever it wants to. And then for the little percentage of people who decide to get out of the river and start walking along
The shoreline.
the shoreline, you know, doing what they want to do and figuring out where they actually want to go rather than just floating along like life's just going to take them where they want to go. Oh, hopefully I don't go to a waterfall. You know, those people, yeah. The people who are walking along the shore, everyone makes fun of them and they're just like, oh, why don't you get back in the river, idiot? It's easier in here. It's easier. This is a metaphorical river, by the way, guys.
Easier than
It's
walking.
easier to just come to our party, come drink and smoke, come be lame, come be gay. It's easier to just chill and hope that one day you become successful. It's easier to sit back and talk about all your dreams and never actually go chase them, you know, because you actually got to get out of the river and head up the mountain or something of that sort to actually get to where you want to go. Everyone just hopes that the river heads up the mountain. So when you actually get out of the river and start heading up, everyone tries to pull you back in the river. But let's say this metaphorical river leads to a waterfall. Here's the thing about the guys who got out and walked the shoreline. 10 years down the road, when everyone finally floats to the point where they fall off the waterfall, that is when the person who took the hard route and took the shoreline finally gets a little bit of clarity and starts to think, wow, I was right. Versus the people who were in the river thought they were right the whole time because it was so easy, it had to be right. But they finally fall off that waterfall, and everyone who was walking along the shoreline finally is like, I did it, I was right. Basically, metaphorically, obviously, so let's speak real for a second. Those are the people who got out and started paving their own path. The other people were floating along, doing their thing, and finally they woke up one day and realized, hey, partying, drinking, smoking, jerking off all day did not get me where I wanted to be. Talking about it didn't do it. I needed to be about it. And the people who were about it and actually chased everything that they ever wanted, finally, the other people seen that and had a little bit of a wake-up call. My point here is, guys, don't be scared to be the guy who gets out of the river and walks the shoreline, because one day everyone's going to wake up and realize, and if you can just realize a little bit early that you need to hop out of that river and walk the shoreline or head up the mountain, you will be much better off than everyone else, because when they wake up and they realize, wow, everything I did is a dead end. Everything I did is a drop off. It's just, I floated along. I worked that dead end job. I never built any real skills. I never did anything worth doing. All my buddies I used to drink and smoke with, they all fucked up too, and our life is basically useless. You're going to be really glad that you got out of that river and walked up that mountain, even though this is the important part. You need to understand that everyone in that river is going to try and pull you back in it and tell you you're an idiot for getting out of it. Do not listen to them. That is the most important part, is that you do not listen to them, because if you do, you're going off that waterfall as well.
Really, it just takes enough brain power to really just click in your head to really say, like, what am I doing in this river? Why am I floating down with all these people? And where are we going to go at the end of this river whenever we make it? It's not where, it's never where is this river going to end. It's always, I hope this river, it's never when is this river going to end. It's stop. It's, you sound like a
Bro, I'm trying to drink water. Chill.
Sound like an underwater zombie.
I'm in the river. I'm representing the river, bro.
The people in the river, they're never really thinking about the end of the river. They're
not thinking long term.
No, they're not thinking long term. The thing that they're mainly thinking about is, I hope this river never ends.
They're not even hoping. They're just assuming, because they don't think more than a week or two ahead. They're just like, there's a river here. I'm going to float in it. I don't know where it's going. I'm not going to think about that. It's like, most people don't have the ability to think ahead. They do have the ability, but they're too lazy to think ahead. It takes a lot of work to think ahead and plan your next 5-10 years and how you're going to make sure that you get the results you're looking for.
But listen, Pete, the thing about rivers is that they eventually all split into 3, 4, 2 exits. And usually one of the part of the river, it goes to a nice pond, and eventually you're going to finally click and realize, all right, well, the river has ended. What am I going to do now? And that's usually, dude, I don't do this to you at all. If I were to do this, you would like,
Titus, shut up!
People usually split through those different types of rivers. There's usually a rough river where it just goes down and down and down, eventually to the waterfall, or there's just a river that never ends and it just keeps on going, and people just keep on doing the same thing in life. And then there's another river that just keeps on going, and then it eventually ends. And that's when you make it to the end of that river and you're like, all right, what am I going to do now? This river is over. And then that's when you kind of click and you're like, all right, well, I need to figure my shit out because this river is over. And they didn't expect it. They didn't prepare for this river to end. They were just hoping that that river would last forever. And all the other people that fell down the waterfall, the other people that went down the rocky path and didn't end up anywhere else but in a trash bag on the side of the road.
Okay, here's the thing. When you floated all the way down to that dead end, here's where you fucked up. The mountain was back here where you started floating, or where you floated by. You know, you lived your first 15, 16, 17 years of your life floating in that river, and that was okay. But right about here, there's the mountain. There's your exit. You gotta get out and hit that mountain. But instead you stayed on. Now you're 25, 30, 40 years old and you're all the way over here. Now what you have to do, where you messed up, is you have to turn around and you have to backtrack all those acres walking. And then you gotta hit that mountain. So good luck making it to the top. So yes, the fact that you floated all the way down that river instead of hopping off back here when you were 17 or 18 years old and hitting the mountain, you screwed up, because now you're all the way over there. You have all these acres to walk back. You're going to really, really, really have to hustle, because you couldn't click it into your own head. You had to wait until you were at the end and you were forced to realize that you fucked up. You were forced to realize that you took the wrong path. So yeah, maybe you didn't fall off the waterfall, but you would have been a whole lot better off if you did, because maybe you would have just been able to climb up the ledge and hit the mountain. And instead, now you're all the way up there. You're 30, 40 years old and you're screwed. So, I mean, my hopes is that someone hearing this can take this metaphor and understand what we're saying, and hopefully get out of the river as quick as possible and hit the mountain before they hit the pond. The shit pond, I guess. I mean,
Honestly, yeah.
seriously, like the quicker you start hitting that mountain, the quicker you can get up it, the less competition you're going to have because nobody's going to want to do it early. Everyone's going to want to do it when they have to. And that's where you start to get competition as well. Like if you're going to be the first to start a business, if you're going to be the first to go ask that guy for a job or the first to do something, or at least one of the first, you're not going to wait till 40 years when the guy you want to work for is dead.
Yeah.
Then you have a good chance at success. But if you're just going to sit around and hope something ends up happening, it's probably not going to happen. Listen, guys, the point here isn't about rivers, isn't about mountains. It's about the fact that you need to quit screwing off with your whole entire life and just get started. Whatever it is that you're waiting to do, maybe you're waiting to get out of the river. I don't want to sit here and talk about things that aren't actually real while we're on this podcast the whole time. But the point is, guys, whatever it is you're waiting to do, you need to start doing it now. And if you don't have any intentions of doing anything that scares you or that seems big, then you need to start thinking a little bit bigger and get out of your comfort zone and do it. It's comfortable in that floaty, but you need to get out of it. So the point is, guys, just do something better. I hope that someone can hear this and maybe just do something a little bit better.